There we are. Hello, live. It's Religion Outside the Box. I'm joined by a whole group of friends who are there in the background. You can see them. This is January the 4th, 2025. I'm Rabbi Brian, and today the service is going to be run by my intern, who is older than I am, not to age shame anybody.
Thanks for that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
Religion Outside the Box got a wonderful intern who has come pre-experienced, and I am delighted. I have had a week, and I am delighted to have a week where I get to be a participant. So I'm going to turn things over to Lori, and I'm going to monitor the Facebook. Go ahead,
Hi,
Lori, your
everybody.
service.
Good idea. Good idea.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Um,
Lori!
Hello.
Thank you for your attendance. And I thought today, as we've all made it through another holiday season, I thought today we would talk a little bit about the joys and the difficulties of the holidays and maybe some strategies on how to combat those for next year. I did a sermon at my church about about what different holiday traditions have in common. And what I found was across the festivals, either religious or non-religious, there are all sorts of festivals at this time of year, solstice and Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Diwali. There's a million of them. Um, I found that the things that were across that they came that we converge across all festivals where it was light, bring light into the darkness of winter with candles and decorations, a focus on family, friends, and community, special foods to feast on, and special music, and generosity to others who might be hurting or down on their luck. Reality is also suspended for a period of time because we focus on the miracles. In Hanukkah, the miracle of the oil lasting 8 days when it was only supposed to last for one, and in Christianity, the miracle of the birth of Jesus. And I think that having a baby is a miracle in and of itself, no matter whether it's Jesus or anybody else. Um, so the holidays are often a difficult time for many people. Those are sad who are alone, feel it more poignantly during Christmas, Hanukkah, solstice, whatever you celebrate. And then there's the sheer craziness and busyness of the season, not to mention the consumerism. So, with all that in mind, it's my hope that we would share a favorite or least favorite part of the season with each other. From it can be from the season you just had, or can be from years past. Does anybody want to share a memory or?
Well, I, for one, find the holidays too long. It's like it's sort of a forced. You got to be gay and happy and cheerful and wish everybody a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. And what are you going to do for New Year's? What is it you accomplished last year? Or it's like, I'm tired of it. I just like, that's it. I don't, that's it. I'm a curmudgeon when it
Yeah,
comes to the holidays. Maybe 3 days would be fine,
3 days
but
would
two
be
weeks,
good.
2 weeks, and gifts giving
Yeah.
getting together with people and huge family. I got this big family here, and it's like constant going. Okay, so that's my crab.
Yeah. Consumerism is a
Yeah.
big problem, is a big issue. I just hang on, I have a slide, which I have a slide. Maybe I'll just tell you. Um, Dave Barry, who's a comedian, says that where is it? Of course I can't find it. I'm doing this in memory of Rabbi Brian, who can never find his piece of paper.
Can we make that? Can we make that in honor of Rabbi Brian instead of
Oh,
in
in
memory of
honor.
Rabbi Brian?
Sorry. Sorry, not memory. Oh dear, Dave Barry. Oh, where is it? It's so funny.
That's all right. I can never remember punchlines myself.
Oh, I'm gonna find it. Dave Barry says, once again, we come to the holiday season, a deeply religious time that each of us observes in his own way by going to the mall of our choice. And I also I have another one by Phyllis Diller, just in case I can't find it, who says, what I don't like about office Christmas parties is looking for a job the next day, which I thought was cute.
Well, I love the cartoon of this man who comes up to the ticket counter at the airlines and says, I'd like to donate my ticket to anyone who wants to go home for the holidays.
Yeah. There's changing the subject. I've been at least two interfaith gatherings in which someone was asked to do a prayer. And to me, it's not an interfaith gathering if they are pressing or they're recognizing their own religion and nobody else's in the name of whatever. And I wish people would realize that not everybody in the room in an interfaith gathering, or even just any gathering, believes the same way you do. There's a lot of interfaith things you can say.
Yeah. And I think that's some of the pressure of Christmas when you don't have a religious you don't come from a religious tradition, or you're not that part of your faith isn't important. It becomes a pressure to sort of go along with everything and be with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the things I've asked I don't know if I've asked them or not, but they honor that with me, is we say the blessing at dinner time, and they're Catholics, so they do the Catholic thing, and at that point they just stop for just a minute, and I add, and all the holy names of God. When they say in Jesus' name, then I say after that, and all the holy names of God. And that has worked really well for us because
that's
it
nice.
honors both of us, all of us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And I like it.
That's really good.
I got that from Richard Rohr. He ends his prayers, I think, like that.
Oh, does he? Oh, that's good. Missy?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on the earlier question about some of the difficulties around the holiday season. And for me, it's a time when I feel much more lonely than normal. I'm single and I live alone, and my mother and father are both passed. I have 2 adult siblings, but no kids among the 3 of us. So there's no nieces and nephews. My brother lives here, but he and I, in the same place I live, he and I are not as close as my sister and I. My sister moved about 4 hours away to Hilton Head, which is a lovely place to visit when COVID hit. And so it's just a time when part of what Emily was talking about, all the hoopla and all the parties and all the, kind of forced gaiety and all that kind of stuff. And it's a time when I feel very lonely. It's exacerbated by the fact that there's this almost pressure to be in a kind of happy place during the holidays, because those circumstances aren't any different any other time of the day. I'm still single and I still live alone and I still have a very, very small family, very, very small family remaining. So it's the pressure of the holidays that brings that on for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
It becomes a time when you're more aware of what you maybe don't have that other people have, and it's hard to reconcile that with the holidays. Anybody else have a
Yeah. I was just gonna say that for me, when I think about the holidays or December, it's a shared experience we all have as humans. And so we're trying to find commonality. And of course, the end of the year and how you celebrate that. And sort of riffing on what Missy said, it's a transitionary time, and a transition always begins with an ending, and it's the ending of the year, and it's coming to sort of terms with another 12 month cycle, and what did I accomplish, and stepping into something new. And I think that is the overarching pressure that then we cram all the other BS in with the gifts and the codependent mom I am, and I want my kids to have the perfect whatever. And it's never perfect. And so at the end of it, you're so exhausted, but that does then mark a good solid ending. It's like, I'm done with this year and into the next.
My sister was once going to therapy years ago, and she had was having Christmas, and part of her homework for therapy was to tell us that Christmas wouldn't be perfect. And when we stopped laughing, we said, when is it ever perfect? That's not our expectation, but it helped her a lot just to say it won't be perfect, So, Carol?
We are animals, and animals know that in winter you hibernate. So you're asking people to do the opposite of what the weather and what our own biological calling tells us. It is time to hibernate, not to celebrate, to get inside, to be warm, to be comfortable in your own little nest.
That sounds so nice, Carol.
That is a great point, Carol. And for me, nothing about 2024, nothing has been normal or usual or traditional. And I found it interesting because once a person dies, then there's a whole new job. I'm putting Ken's affairs in order, or even getting his name off things, and me still being able to use the bank account. It's like starting a new business, except at a time when I'm not in the mood to start a business. But so it's like two great big things coming together that are crazy all at once. But I found it fascinating that I wasn't even aware. Somebody had to tell me, hey, tomorrow is Christmas Eve. And I'm like, what? What do you mean tomorrow is Christmas Eve? Because I was so involved in the real world. I got that in the mail. This call needs to be made today. That somebody else, and So it was weird because two things: no mail comes on Christmas Day. So one of the things I celebrated Christmas Day was that I could not get any other new notifications about Ken Ludwig that I had to deal with. So December 25th was a break from getting mail. Um, and and then the other thing was, because he wasn't here, we didn't do anything that was anything like what he would have done because he wasn't here. And so everything we did this year was completely different. And I think it broke a monotony of a pattern we all thought we had to keep. And all of a sudden we did like these 3 days of time in a completely different way. And we giggled and laughed, and it was very good for me to have children around. But it was like, we didn't do a single thing the same as last year, and we had a great time. We had more fun probably because it was new. And I thought, so there's no rules.
No.
You can do something different every single year if you want.
Yep, that's true.
So there's something to be said for breaking the rules.
Yeah.
I love what you said.
For new traditions. Sorry, go ahead.
I just love what Joe said about breaking the monotony, because I never thought about how we get stuck in those traditions, and they hold us so tightly, like, oh, I can't not do that because it's tradition. But a lot of times they are not working any longer.
Right?
Because someone is no longer there, or whatever other reason, someone's moved or someone's passed, or any number of reasons, or you don't have finances, or whatever the thing is. But I had never thought of it as breaking the monotony. So that really helps my heart.
There was this woman who always followed her mother's recipes. And she finally said to her mother, "Why do you cut the roast in half before you cook it?" She said, "Because my pan doesn't hold a big enough roast."
Right.
Lori, I saw
Yes.
Rebecca put her hand up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I just
then
wanted to
Ron.
say that on December 30th, the Interfaith Partners of South Carolina went to the State House, and we announced the governor's proclamation that January would be Interfaith Harmony Month, where all the different faith groups invite on different days curious people to come and see what's what. So it was wonderful. And the readings that we did were from Sikh and Buddhist and
nice.
Jewish and Muslim. And we covered the bases. It was beautiful. And I'm very happy that South Carolina is offering this to others.
What a great idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, great.
That's what I like about Unitarianism, is that they're very pluralistic. Most are pluralistic. We're not all the same across the board, but we bring in different faith traditions into our services, and it makes it very rich. Yeah. Ron?
Well, I was just, in talking about the monotony of traditions, I think humans tend to crave meaningful ritual. And when ritual is no longer meaningful, it becomes monotonous and tedious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
And so
Yes.
maybe the thing for if we feel like we need to carry on the tradition, we find ways to refresh it and make it meaningful again.
That's very good. Very true. Diana? Sorry, my cats are fighting in here.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Sorry. Go ahead, Diana.
I have a similar response to the ritualistic, but to me, very shallow Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. And I announced to my yoga class the other day that I refuse to say Happy New Year because I do believe there will be happiness at times for some people in 2025 and a lot more. So I just found myself bristling at this idea that it's going to be better, that we don't know what it's going to be. So I've decided just welcome 2025 and all that you bring.
That's very nice.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that too.
Megan and I have been talking about living with ambiguity, and that's part of it, right? You don't know what the next year is going to bring. I'm getting all these cards that say, I hope 2025 is better. I do too. I do too. John, you had a comment?
Yeah, I wanted to go backwards for a moment. The whole consumerism thing, the challenge is that economics drives so much of what we do, so much of the world. And the Christmas season, think of all the businesses that I think of all the businesses, thanks, Meg, that need to generate such a huge part of their yearly income from this holiday season. I know I still watch old-fashioned television with cable. The W channel starts with Christmas in July. They're new Christmas movies. They throw a bunch in July, and then gradually they come back in about September. And by October, they're doing at least one a week. By November, it's two a week. This stuff is just ongoing. It's stuff that we have to accommodate. I mean, we can say I can say for myself that I don't want to do all that. But at the same time, I have to acknowledge that it's important, as consumeristic as it is. It's really important to a whole lot of people who get much of their livelihood from the things we do at this time of year.
That's very true. Maybe we should focus on small retailers, like small businesses that are local, as opposed to the big box stores. But they employ tons of people too, right?
Yep.
I thought the whole idea was to see Jesus as a model, and Jesus was not a consumer.
No.
And Jesus was saying, this is a time to praise God. This is a time to let's look at the religious aspect of it and not the consumer aspect. We don't have to follow everyone, and we don't have to feel sorry for all the people who are working on companies that are polluting the earth.
I just have to jump in and quote the old Tom Lehrer song, The Christmas Carol. Hark the herald tribune sings, prophets doth the new year bring. Angels we have heard on high, telling us to go and buy.
Oh,
let me jump in on this too. I've worked for a number of volunteer agencies and worked with a number of volunteer agencies. And you'll notice that very few people put a donation monthly into those pots. So I know John rings the bell for Salvation Army, and Salvation Army does a lot of good, and their biggest fundraising campaign is Christmas. You look at people, if they would be generous year round, maybe you wouldn't need so much consumerism. You look at presents. How many presents do you give somebody else the rest of the year rather than Christmas? Maybe an anniversary present, maybe a birthday present. It's the only time you recognize them. So I think if we do away with commercialism, we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot because we're beginning to become isolated in our cocoons in winter and not do anything. I agree with John's small business argument, but I think we have to remember that, as Carol said, Jesus went out and worked with the people. Well, we've got a ton of agencies that work with the people that depend on Christmas consumerism to fund their activities throughout the year.
Thanks, Carol.
That's true. That's true.
Patricia?
The statistic I heard, which is sad, is that more trash and or recycling is done in November and December months than the other 10 months combined. Think of all those Amazon boxes and all those Christmas trees and all those wrappings. And so that's consumerism as a measurement. So
I think one article I read said that looking for gifts is part of the biggest stressor of Christmas, trying to find the perfect gift for people in your life. And I don't know what we do about that, but it makes it, as someone who hates shopping, it makes it difficult. Wendy?
There I am. Yeah, so I have a couple things. One is I want to go to Thanksgiving. And so in our family, we adopted a Thanksgiving ritual from a guy that my husband worked with, and we call it Pajama Thanksgiving. And for years, I did the whole formal table, brought out the china, brought out the silver, and inevitably, I always left a vegetable because I made too much food in the microwave, and we would find it like after dinner later. Don't know what I have against vegetables. And then when we switched to this pajama Christmas, we said, we're just going to make the things we like. We're going to eat them when they're ready. The end.
Yeah.
And so from then on, it's been really casual, and it's been like, show up when you want to show up. Or if we go to one of the kids' house, great, who cares? I would ask the kids or whoever's coming, do you have a favorite food? Because I love to cook. And that was it. It was so relaxing and unstressful. So to Joe's point, you can change your traditions to make them work for you. And then for Christmas, we have adult children. We personally don't need a darn thing. I'm gluten-free, and so my daughter bakes and purchases delicious gluten things for my husband because it's the only time of the year he gets it unless he makes it or we go out. So real simple stuff. And then I just ask my kids, like, what do you need? And try and give them something that they need. And we just kind of bagged out on the rest. And then the majority of my money went to the charities that were important to me. And so I gave a large amount to foster kids where they can, it's called One Simple Wish if anybody's interested. And they have foster kids who request things at Christmas time and all throughout the year so that they can get things that every other kid gets. So there's a lot of positives. And I like what Joe said, like you can change your traditions. And we've been kind of morphing them over the years because we definitely, as children, when we had little kids, we went seriously down the path of consumerism and it did not pay off. And absolutely pumpkin pie and turkey, you got it.
Yeah, I just saw that too, Maria. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Wendy. Holly?
So there is a lot to unpack here.
I know.
I mean, I agree with the folks who are like, this is the time of year when a lot of businesses get out of the red. And a lot of people do focus on local during this time of year to help the small businesses get out of the red. Unfortunately, a lot of your families will also go into the red because they feel like they have to follow these traditions. You have people buying gifts for people they don't even really care about because, if I get one for Billy, I have to get one for Susie or whatever, So, And also, you know, the point Carol made about the trash buildup and stuff. It's like I went outside in Salt Lake City one day and looked down the street right after Christmas, and there was so much that I felt I had actually been kicked in the gut. I was like, oh my gosh, this is one street in one town, in one city. I mean, what the heck are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
So, but I also feel like, you know, from what Harold said about the community organizations that, you know, take advantage of people's good spirits and stuff during the last part of the year. It's like, how do we normalize giving the whole year? Like, why does it have to be this one time of year? You know, and you know, why should people have to rely on this one time of year to help them get out of the red or to help them finance, you know, their next year? Um, you know, and in our household, you know, we sort of do that. We're like, if I want to get you something, I'm just going to get it for you.
Yeah.
I don't need to wait for a special time, you know.
We
So
do we do that gift pass thing. You know, you buy a funny or small gift for $25 and we pass it, and we love that tradition, and it takes a lot of the pressure off of
yeah, it is a lot.
especially for people who hate to shop like me. Rabbi, you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, hold on.
You're on mute.
Are you on?
Oh, I muted him.
You
Okay,
muted
okay.
him.
I had two comments. One, my family got me a gift for Christmas, and had they given it to me in another time, there was something special about getting it for Christmas, of knowing that there's a childlike zeal and fun of knowing I'm not getting the present right now, I'm going to get it in a few days. And they got me a sweatshirt that says "Hopeless Romantic" on it, and I felt seen in that SAUR kind of scene. I felt seen because they knew what I wanted. They knew that this would be a gift for me. Similarly, Melissa uh, sent me, she had pine nuts that had grown locally, and she roasted them and sent them to me as a gift. Random, and it made me feel seen. And I'm really just this year appreciating how gifts, it's not everyone's first love language, but that gifts can really be a way of seeing people. The end.
Yeah, that's very true. It's so weird to call on you, Rabbi Brian. John, you had a comment?
When I hear people talking about the difficulty in choosing gifts, Mennonite Central Committee puts out a thing towards the end of the year, and it's the Christmas gift giving catalog, where you can purchase a goat, or you can purchase a few chickens, or you can purchase, there are a number of different things. You purchase them, and then you get a little ticket that they will send you, and you give it to somebody else saying, I bought a goat in your name to help a family in Africa. Because by having a goat, or by having a pig, or by having, there are all kinds of those sorts of things where you're not giving somebody something. And I'm also one of those, my family, nobody needs anything. The gesture then becomes one of saying, I'm thinking of you, and I believe that this would do. And what I've done with that is I tell them, this is my kids and siblings, look at the page. Tell me what you think. If you were doing it, what would you give? And I will get it for you. I will. So that's one of those ways of spreading it beyond. I'm sure there are other organizations besides the Mennonite Central Committee that do similar things. And I
effort.
think it really bears, for anybody that's interested, it really bears looking at for another year, at another.
That's an awesome idea. I remember a couple people last year in my congregation, just out of the blue, gave me, I think they bought a goat or something, and they wrote a nice letter to me saying, that they appreciated me, and it meant the world to me. It meant more to me than any other gift that I've ever gotten, you know? So, I was hoping that we could go into small groups, and maybe we've already gotten some great coping strategies, and I was hoping that we could go into small groups, talk about some of the things that we've already talked about coping with the holidays and how to make the holidays more joyous, and come back and share to the group. So Maria, are you ready to put people into small groups?
I am. I'm opening them.
Oh, my video is tiny. I don't know how. Hold on a second. Shoot. I'm struggling. Okay, that's back. Hi. I need to announce, because you were lucky enough to be in a group with me, that this is being broadcast onto Facebook, into my channel. Um, be mindful. Coping with the holidays. Um, I have a confession to make. I was a little bit depressed for a few of the days of the holiday, about 3, 4, 5 days, but the rest of it was really fucking awesome. And I had a great holiday, and I look forward to it happening again. Thank you. Fair. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was relaxed. Yeah. Yeah, yes, 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 yes. Mm. Or I think if you shoplift and you take it. Right. Mm. Mm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair, fair taken. Mm. I was somewhat secretly thrilled that my daughter bought my son thrifted clothes, and he was, and it's a love language among with the kids. If you're shopping for something thrifting and you find something that someone else would like, you just buy that because it's a few bucks. It's very dear. It's very dear. And I asked them this year, I said, here's what I want. I want zero hot sauces and I want zero t-shirts. I said, what I want is the gift of you being able to walk past that, whatever it is you're passing, and not buy me a hot sauce, please, and thank you. And I didn't get a hot sauce or a t-shirt. Right, right, right. I think one fruitcake is about a 3-year serving. Yeah. So I'm on this side of the this, and my that side of this is jumping in and saying, but we didn't as a group come up with who's going to speak and summarize what we spoke about, and I totally wasn't paying close enough attention to speak and summarize what we were talking about. But that's my rabbi running the service voice talking. So I kind of wish I hadn't said any of that, but it was there. It's really fun. This me not running it and being able to just watch the chat um, and just see how much more space there is than I allow. It's really cool. I fucking love this whole thing that we all do. Me too. Not me. Unless I could think. Diana, you get to run the football. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and a hopeful new year. I like that.
Thanks. No complaints about the amount of time, please.
I actually wanted to talk to you about that. I
Oh,
was.
did you? Was it not enough for
Yeah,
one?
I mean,
Your crew.
that was the amount of time allotted to my group and the number of members was clearly insufficient, and I
Take it up with the big cheese.
Yeah.
Take it up with the big
Would you like
cheese.
me to refer that complaint to Rabbi Brian, please?
Yes, please.
There's an object lesson there.
Always
So,
complaining.
did anyone want to bring back to the big group any of the strategies or the ideas that you talked about in your groups?
You know, something came up and I spit it out and then the group quit, so we really didn't get to talk about it. So the whole time, this whole hour, I've been thinking about what if it wasn't there? Like, what if for some reason you just yank Christmas out of the calendar and it's not there for 2025? Like, how would we react? Would we miss it? What would we miss? And for me, regardless of if I got a gift or not, I think I would miss December 25th if you pulled it out of the calendar.
Yep. Al, I agree, Joe. Al.
Yeah, I just wanted to reflect that me and another person in our group, we were reflecting that the time that we're spending is becoming a more important consideration for us than the gifts that we're giving.
Yes.
So thinking about how we want to spend our time, and this other fellow, talked about some volunteer work that he did that he got great satisfaction from. And that's the kind of thing that I'm figuring out for myself now, is how I want to spend my time in my retirement.
Yeah.
And that's a bigger gift in a lot of ways than little trinkets or doodads that we might get for our loved ones. And I just think that's really important for me.
Yeah.
I think the gift of time spent with people, or I think it was Maria, or I saw someone put in the chat that they give concert tickets or movie tickets or whatever to people, and then they spend that time with them, and I think that's really great. Also, volunteering can help give the spirit of Christmas to other people, and by doing that, you give it to yourself, right? So I'm sorry I keep talking about Christmas, because Christmas is a tradition that I'm used to. So, Diana?
So we were fortunate enough to have Rabbi as participant in our group.
Oh, yes.
And he loved not leading it.
He's way too happy about this.
Well, so I will admit, I proposed the idea of, instead of buying, under pressure gifts of various expense levels, that maybe I would adopt the idea of make it, bake it, or take it. And we briefly talked about shoplifting, but decided but the take it idea
is not nice.
Oh,
hurt our businesses, right? take it was the idea that sometimes there are just completely free markets, or thrift stores are very low cost, and taking the opportunity to buy a thrift item for somebody instead of yourself, just to slow it down and make it more personally meaningful and not about money and obligatory giving.
That's great. I used to have a friend who her daughters would stand side by side and go through the catalog or whatever, and to see if they spent 1 cent more on one daughter than the other. And that to me is just there would be no Christmas the next year. There would be no presents anyway, if that was the case in my family. But Carol,
We talked a little bit about what you say instead of Happy New Year, like hopeful for a peaceful, safe New Year. I mean, so many people are genuinely afraid of what's coming up ahead. So acknowledging that, saying, yes, this is a scary time. Let us be safe together. Let us hold on to our values together. And that's what we hope for the new year.
Nice.
that's a great idea. That's great.
Lori?
Yes. Are you gonna? I was just gonna
Yes.
stop for that.
Yes. So, this is the light, love, prayer, and concern list. So these are the people to whom we are sending light and love. Ken in Spirit and Joe, Carolyn, Brandon, Flynn, and Porter, Lori, Brian, Addie, and Lincoln, and the Ludwig and Applebaum families. Sheridan H., Shirley W., Judy Love and her family, Lynn, Greg, Patsy's sister Sue, Becca, Nicole, Yuval, and Lorena, Tane and Kelly, Warner Taylor, Nancy Glenn Hansen and family, Viv, Karen, and the Sitcher family. If there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list on Facebook. And for the people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well. And I can set a timer for just 1 minute.
Okay.
For some reason, my timer stopped. But
We don't have Rabbi Brian's handy dandy timer.
No, but I think
we're good. So thank you everyone for your attendance and your comments. And I have a couple announcements to make. If you want to be on the Religion Outside the Box contact list, Maria, can you put a link in the chat? And we're going to start another group to meet in a separate room, the pre-service half hour starting next week. So starting at 7:30
So
Pacific
can I
time.
explain for a second, Lori? So there's a group
Yeah,
that we're starting out called, it's the letter O, the letter U, and the number 2.
Cool.
And that stands for OU2.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you too? And so if you would like to join the half hour before the broadcasted service, we're going to do a breakout room for anyone who feels like they are a caregiver and just wants a quick check-in with other caregivers, just to be able to say, yes, I'm here again. I made it through another week. So you're welcome to join that next week.
Okay.
Yep. That's good. I was getting to that part. Okay, and so Maria, what are the breakout rooms again?
We have the clergy corner. I'm assuming, I don't know if Rabbi can get there or not, but I'm assuming that you'll be there, Lori.
I'll go there, yeah.
Okay. We have deep dive, where they dive deeper.
For lack of better words.
Without a mask or goggles. It's amazing.
There we go. There we go. We
Hold
have
your breath.
the poetry room where Ron brings some poetry or even poetry that people have written themselves. And then we have the divergent thinkers where I go if somebody's gone off in a different way, sort of thing we can always talk about.